What's happening, party people? Man, this is almost a week late on my weekly video, kind of like my schedule. Man, let me tell you something. There's two things that I have out of control. One, my traveling schedule, and two, my estimates. Man, those things are not even close. The first subject on the estimates. Man, I had a guy, he said he wanted to buy an engine. I said, man, if I get this engine out of my storage, give me $350. Take it away, have somebody else deal with the car, put it in, whatever. He was just looking to buy an engine. Come get it, $350. Well, a couple months went by and he didn't come get it. Then he calls me up. Hey, Robert, you still have that engine? Yeah. Can you put it in for me? Sure. Probably $800. Drop the engine in. All right, cool. Let's do that. Brings the car down. I go to put the engine in. Engine needs service. So I contact him. I said, hey, this engine, man, it's a good running engine, but I wouldn't put an engine in my car that's in this kind of service condition. This thing needs a timing belt. It needs some seals. Somebody put aftermarket seals in it. It needs service. So engine's out on the stand. I could service this thing and put it in. Man, the estimate on the job from him saying I like the engine, put it in, to me getting it in and servicing the engine, buying the parts, fixing everything under his hood that was jacked up by somebody else that probably replaced an engine, did a dirty engine swap. And I'm doing a clean engine swap, the way I think it should be, the way I would do for myself. Double the estimate. Out of control. Just went to Chicago, did a manual swap for a guy. He had a transmission going bad. We said, hey, let's do a manual swap. How much would that be, Robert? Oh, that should be this much. I thought I overshot by about $500. Got there, a couple things wasn't right. And man, that swap turned into a mechanical restoration. If you have the engine out, the subframe out, the interior torn apart, the brake system torn apart, to refresh the parking brake system, it's cheap on labor to replace engine mounts and stuff like that. It's all already out pretty much. Just take one bolt out, put a bolt or two back in, and bam. An example, the hydraulic mounts sitting between the engine, front, back, and the subframe. Those hydraulic mounts, I went and did one for a guy, cost $300. In this scenario, I could pull that mount out and put the new one on 10-15 minutes, which is probably too long to be doing that. So 2 engine mounts, $25. If I had to do that on a travel, go somewhere, put an engine mount on somebody, it's $300. So your labor's getting cut way down. You know, you're probably paying 10 cents on the dollar on labor because the part's already out. Now, I'm not like some shops. They're going to maybe charge book time or something, I don't know, to do these additional things while the subframe's down, the engine's out, the transmission's apart, all this stuff. Like I had a guy do a rear main seal for me when he did a transmission swap. He charged me $100. Well, that's a 10-minute job. You know, why you charge me $100 to do 10 minutes worth of work? But you know, that's his shop rate. So this transmission conversion from auto to manual almost tripled doing mechanical restoration stuff, replacing delta links and engine mounts, and you know, most of this stuff is parts, but some of it's labor. Estimate exploded, you know, and the guy understood we're doing a mechanical restoration, so he wasn't mad about it. He felt, I believe, good about it. But that's a lot of work that we wasn't expecting to do. 2-day job turned into 9-10-day job. And we got a lot of extra stuff done on there. Rebuilt the parking brake system, fixed broken plastic on the inside. Meet us helping me. We did a roof liner in it. If you went and got a roof liner done somewhere, it's $1,000. We're doing roof liners somewhere around $450. So those things mess up the schedule and mess up the estimate. So extremely hard for me to do estimates and stay on some kind of schedule for traveling. And that's just what I've been experiencing. Now, Meets has been helping me get more organized, which is allowing me to work a little quicker. She's cleaning parts as I take them off that I probably wouldn't clean. So I've decided, hey, any tips I get, I'm going to pass them on to her. She can save them up, do things that she enjoys doing with money. And that's going to be her little, I guess, plus for helping me. And in the meantime, so that's what's going on. This video I got almost a week behind. It shows me finishing that engine swap on that S70. It shows me replacing a mirror on the S60. It's got some VST stuff in there. I think it's a decent video. I've cut out all the wasteful stuff. So decent video. I might put another one together for tomorrow or Saturday to get back on schedule, giving you guys what I'm trying to accomplish. A decent video once a week. So that's where I'm at. Schedule got busted again. I took too long in the Chicago area doing that manual swap. My guy out in Lincoln, Nebraska, we rescheduled that for, I guess, a week and a half from now. So I'm supposed to be in Springfield, Missouri right now, headed to Lincoln, Nebraska, but that got pushed back another week and a half, so I'm not going to be in Springfield for a week and a half. I got people in Denver waiting for parts for manual swap, getting ready to inventory my manual swap stuff to see how many I got left, because I got, I think, 3, maybe 4 scheduled, and I don't know, I might have 4 or 5 kits left, so I may be out of manual swap kits, may have 1 extra one left. So we're going to check into that, focus on getting Panther's transmission swapped out so that I could get Panther running like it should again, and hey, just keep taking it one day at a time. So I appreciate you tuning in, appreciate your support, getting more t-shirts ordered. We got a few more t-shirts and stickers ordered. Coming in. Again, if you didn't catch my last message, my t-shirt printing machine drive is about 13% funded. I'm not going to go in debt for that, so I'm going to keep saving that up. Hopefully 5-6 months I can pull the trigger on that thing and make it easier and funner for us to roll out t-shirts design. And man, I had a few people order t-shirts. So probably next week's video we'll have the information on the stickers, how you can get one. Some people like to stick these stickers on their vehicles. Some people put them on their toolboxes, various places to, you know, support their content creators. So, hey, I appreciate you all. Hope you have a great weekend. And, oh, yeah, I settled up. I don't know if I told you guys, with the insurance company on this 850R that got into an accident. So I'm going to be parting that thing out. I'm stripping that thing down to bare bones today and tomorrow. I had a guy, my good friend Nick up there in Canada, just stripped one down, man. He said, this is how a car should go to the scrapyard. And you couldn't even tell what kind of car it was. He stripped that thing down good. And that's what I try to do. Take anything out of it that's of value, pass it on to other people. I've got a few people wanting some parts. I've already sold a couple parts off of it. And, you know, this stuff is getting harder and harder to find. It's a shame to send it to the salvage yard to be crushed. So that's where we're at. I appreciate you all watching. Hope you have a great weekend. Catch you later. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day. Try to see if I could get this thing running, get it in the driveway to replace the engine. Meanwhile, the day started off with someone hitting Elizabeth's car again. This time they only clipped the mirror. Destroyed that mirror, kept going. I don't think this is part of it. This is probably part of the car that did it. We'll see here shortly. But yeah, they destroyed Elizabeth's mirror. So we'll see if we could track this person down and get this thing paid for by someone other than us. Pretty sure this thing has lawnmower syndrome. So I am going to pull the spark plugs and see if I can get it started real quick so I can move it in the driveway and be safer with dealing with this. For some reason, this side of the hinge is not resetting. Must be bent because it's supposed to reset when it comes down, but it's not. That side is still working right. Let me pull these spark plugs and see if I get this thing started real quick. I don't know if all this happened here, but man, you got to keep this stuff cleared out to stop water from getting inside the car. This car's been sitting a little while, so maybe not, but keep this cowl cleared out. I mean, do it weekly if you got to. Also, look like somebody bent this fuel line coming up over this engine. I have a feeling this engine's been replaced before, and now it's getting ready to be replaced again because it has a blown head. I'm not sure how bad it is, but it's blown bad enough for him to want a engine replacement, and I got one, so we're good to go. Over the past few days, I've resealed it and done several other things to it, but my thing is check the compression. If the compression is good, just do the head. But if fluid mix, you want to do the engine. I don't think this has fluid mix, but let's take a look at the dipstick, see what the oil looks like. Oil is still black, so it has not mixed. Probably been fine just to do a cylinder head job. Not that that would be any cheaper, but it is what it is. Let me get these spark plugs out and put some oil down those cylinders. PCV evidence. It's not super hard, so it may have been replaced at some time. Has a loose Oakley clamp, so somebody's been in here not too long ago. It's got aftermarket spark plug wires in here. That's never good. Common to have those break when you try to remove them. Little bit of oil on top of the engine, not much. So, well, that one broke. This is why I don't like spark plug wires that are aftermarket. Let me get that off of there. Aftermarket improper plugs. They look like double platinums, normally in the turbo cars. Let me get them out. Don't really smell like a lot of fuel, and they don't look too foul. They look pretty new. Several pieces of evidence that this engine's been replaced or cylinder head been done or something. Number one, this fuel line is really hacked up. That's bent pretty bad. It's got aftermarket spark plug wires on there. You got that is not tight there. You got the starter cover missing. You got the clamp missing off this transmission line. There's just several different issues that show signs that this thing's been hacked up. So let me go ahead and try to start it past this lawnmower syndrome, see if we got fuel pressure at the rail. So I'm gonna try to start it right out. You might be able to hear the low compression. Let's see if we got fuel pressure. Yeah, it got some fuel pressure. We should be good to go there. Let me try to crank it a little longer, see if I can get it to stumble and start. Doesn't sound like compression is building. I don't think this is gonna start up. The head gasket could be blown too much for it to start, so try this one more time. I'm gonna see if my compression gauge is handy. I'll show you guys compression is low. We got 0 compression on the first 2 cylinders, so I'm gonna stop messing around and get this engine jerked out of here. getting rained out on my engine swap, so I am tearing down the cylinder head for the salvage. Let's get back at it. Let me get this weird stuff off here, get this fan out. I had to get this stuff out of the way so I can lift the engine out, so let me get cracking. Man, there's a lot of stuff jacked up on this engine, including this pulley being broke. It's amazing what people do to people's cars when they're not watching. I must say, that's a new one on me. They just screwed some kind of guide stud in there. Maybe they use it as a guide. Jeez. It's after 7, and this engine is almost ready to lift out. The exhaust manifold's off. The power steering's disconnected. The AC compressor's disconnected. The torque converter is disconnected. The heater hose are disconnected. All I got to do is take off that engine mount from the transmission and take about 4 or 5 more bolts loose from the engine to the transmission, hook up the engine hoist and lift this thing out. When I get it out, I'm gonna have to push it up that driveway, and I'm not ready to do that. I don't be doing that at 8 o'clock while it's getting dark. So I'm gonna shut this down and pick this up in the morning. Time to get cracking. Pull this engine out, put that engine in, put the finishing touches on it. Let's get going. Well, I'll be. This thing has coilovers on it. Not sure what brand, and it looks like the tire's been rubbing them, but it's got coilovers in it. Oh man, this thing is full of surprises. I'm gonna knock this strut loose here at the knuckle and then pull those 2 bolts out of that courier, and hopefully that'll let me pull the engine up without pulling the axle all the way out. So let me do that, see how that works out for me. The flex plate moved over, about to torque that down. Got the cam seal disc in and the cam sensor on and tightened up. I got the PCV box on in those parts. I got the mount moved over. I got the intake manifold gasket in place. Not sure why somebody had a turbo PCV box on that other engine, but they did. And they got some aftermarket cam seals in there. I just think somebody put that engine in. It was probably bad when they put it in. It had a blown head gasket, and they just kept going forward. Didn't even care. So I'm about to torque these down and drop this engine in place. I got to move this guide over from there. This one's missing here. I got to get this out of here. It's pilot bearing thing that goes to the manual cars, because that one don't have it. And I got to see what's behind there, because this socket fits in that thing over there kind of tightly. I don't know if I got to take something out of there and put it over here for this torque converter. This is an engine that came out of a manual car. It had that pilot bearing thing in there. I don't think the torque converter tip would fit in that because it's a lot smaller. And this engine come out of an NA. It's got what looks to be a different spacer thing in there that I imagine the torque converter fits in. Learned a little 850 lesson today, and that is the automatic pilot bearing is a different size than the manual pilot bearing. Really no need to have a pilot bearing in the manual, but it's there. The one in the automatic is big enough to fit over the tip of the torque converter, which is necessary on the car. But if you take an engine out of a manual and go to put it in the automatic, you'll need to get that automatic pilot bearing. If you don't have it, you could cause a lot of issues with that torque converter vibrating, destroying the seals inside the transmission, and possibly damaging the flex plate. I must say it was hard getting this engine twisted in the right position to get this transmission mounted, but it finally happened, and I got the front mount in. I got the AC mounted, that mount, and I'm gonna go get the proper bolt for that rear mount Then I'm gonna straighten that bracket out and put that in. After I put the alternator in place, power steering pump in place, got the new PCV stuff going in place. Then I'm gonna put the intake manifold on. Man, it's tougher than I thought, but hey, we're gonna get it. I'm gonna keep moving forward. I torqued the axle, I torqued the lug nuts, I put the wheel skirt in properly. Now it's time to finish doing some stuff in here. I'm gonna start with these accessories and ground wires and stuff like that. Oh, I'm gonna start with this torque converter because that thing is not where it needs to be. It's about 7:30, about to start getting dark, so I'm gonna tap out and get this engine out of the street, clean up my tools, and call it a night. Time to get cracking. Man, it was dark most of the morning today. The goal for the day is get that car running, get all of these parts taken to a recycle place, put this rooftop box back on Lemonade, replace the brake caliper on Lemonade, take the parts off of this car that's worth something, and see what else I could get into. So let me start off by opening that car and finishing that engine install. Here we are. I left off yesterday putting the exhaust manifold on and the heat shield. Today I'm gonna start off by putting the starter on, and then the PCV stuff, and then the intake manifold, and going from there. Probably put this bracket on before I put the intake manifold on. So let me keep moving forward. Things are coming together well. I'm able to find stuff that was missing from the car. I got a cover for the starter. I got the strap for the idle air control valve. The new PCV system was trapped on the other side of that bracket. I had to get that off. But I got the intake manifold on. I got the hoses connected, the coolant hoses. I got this air deal on. Looks like somebody trapped that hose on the other side of this transmission line. I don't know if that matters, but anyway, it's there. So when I come back from lunch and picking up a key box, I'm going to continue doing what I need to do. Get this thing together and fire it up. Whoop, whoop. Let's get this thing fired up. See what we got left here. We got the fuel rail, intake system, radiator fan, and add the fluids. We should be good to go. Let's get this cracking. I am almost ready. I don't have enough oil to fill the engine to fire it up. So I got to go buy some oil. It's missing the top of the throttle cover. And when I went to tighten the battery post, it didn't feel like it was tightening. So it just kept spinning and spinning and spinning. So I backed up, and this whole piece came right out of there. I seen this trick somebody had where they put a little worm clamp on it, and man, it is tight. Doesn't have the battery hold down. I'm gonna see if I got one of those, and I'm gonna run to the store, get some oil so I can fire this thing up and let it run for a while, test it, burp the coolant system, and then move on to the next project. Man, we're probably way over budget. When the owner first contacted me, he asked me if I had an engine, if I'd sell it. Yeah, I got a good engine. It was running in the car great. I gave him a price on it, and he said okay. And then he called back, asked me how much, if I would drop it in. Well, normally an engine swap, on the NA, probably 10 hours. I said I'd do it. And man, we get the engine out of storage and it needs to be serviced. Got all these oil, bad seals and stuff like that. Then I open up the hood he's got 20 things wrong under the hood. So I don't know how far over budget we are, but we're way over budget. He wanted me to do some other things, but we got to get square on this engine before I go doing other things. So here we are. Need a battery clip, need some oil, then we can fire this thing up. So let me work on that. All right, folks, it's time for me to put oil in this thing, fire it up, see how it runs, make sure it has coolant, and communicate with the owner what I did. Man, I went way over budget, probably doubled it. I kind of used the golden rule. I treated it like I would have done my own car and servicing that engine and timing belt and PCV kit and all that stuff. And oil pan seals, man, that ran it up a lot. So we'll see what he could do. I put oil in it. I probably should crank it till it gets oil pressure light goes out. So let me do that. I'm going to disconnect the fuses for the ignition system and the fuel system to prime the oil system so it don't start. I think this fuse number 3, fuel pump ignition coil. So let me pull that fuse. Fuse box is busted. No fuse holder in there. So I gotta go find my own. Man, this car is a mess. Let's crank it till we get some oil pressure. Battery's down, or gas thing ready. Jeez. Let me go get another battery. Okay, I dropped one of my batteries in it, trying to get oil pressure. Come on, man. Here we go. Let's put that fuse back in and fire this puppy up. I'm gonna fire it up, then I'm gonna check for smoke. Fire right up. No smoke. That's good. That's good. Little bit of lifter noise. That should quiet down soon. I'm gonna check the timing belt pad. Let it idle for a little while. Timing belt's running smooth and steady. No evidence of any leaks. Just water dripping. I forgot to add a bolt where the transmission mount was, so I'm gonna do that. But let me let this run another minute or two before I shut it down. Been running about 10 minutes. Coolant's a little low, which is both good and could be a little bad. If it was high side, it would be a sign of a bad head gasket. So I'm gonna top it off. It could be just burnt air. And I think I smell coolant in the heater core system. So I'm gonna see if the heater cores are leaking. The fact that I can get the cap off means it does not have a blown head, which is awesome. So let me top this up and shut her down. Test drive went okay. I think it needs an ABS module. Engine's pretty quiet. I was hoping to cut the fan off. I cut the AC off. There may be lifters ticking, but it could be fuel injectors. Not 100% sure. But again, I don't see no evidence of anything leaking, so I'm doing real good. Life is still happening. I need to tear that engine apart, get the parts off of it that I want off of it, and take that thing to recycling. So let me get cracking on that, because I need to keep it moving. And I need to get my stuff out of the rain. What the heck am I doing? It's not raining that hard. I'm gonna go ahead and tear this engine down right here. Look how much it's rained. Man, that's like 2.5 inches in the last day. Somebody didn't have this timing belt cover on. It's hanging out, so let me pull that off. Might keep that timing belt cover. Probably going to keep this harmonic balancer. It's starting to crack, but it don't have any chunks missing. May not. Let me knock that off real quick and go from there. PVC system was plugged up there, and let me go ahead and tear this cylinder head off. Found out while this car wouldn't start and didn't have any compression, timing belts broke. Had an original water pump, original idler roller, probably original tension. Man, this heater core looks original. Has evidence of leaking. This thing can explode at any time. We are here after about 90 miles. The engine sounds good. Coolant level is perfect. We have dropped it off, folks. The task for today. Guess what, folks? Time to do a headliner. Yes, sir. Let's get this thing ripped out and put some fresh material on this thing. So we're trying to take this trim down that holds up the headliner at the sunroof, and Tony told me to come in here and pry it at these attaching points. One here, one here, one here, and it looks like we're doing pretty good so far. So now we're going to try to pry it away from the side and then hope it falls down in on the back side. So that's what we're doing, and it looks pretty good so far. Get it to unlatch. It's broke a little bit on these sides here. Didn't come out the way we wanted it, but if that's our only fallacy, we might be okay to reuse this. Let me keep trying. All right, folks, we rolled the material out. The material I bought this morning, the 96 inches, was only 73 inches. So I had to take it back to the store and get a proper size roll. So we're going to roll it out, spray it up, and get with it. Headliner material is ready to install. This is probably the best one I've done. Good help this time. Mika and Noah did an awesome job holding it, helping me lay it down. I think that's the only flaw right there. Little crease in there that I just noticed. Didn't notice it before. Well, we're getting ready to get it in. A fresh headliner, like a new car. Oh, let me push this over and make sure those are secure, and we're good to go. Here we are, folks, for another fun-filled episode of a P3 Volvo repair. And in this video, we're going to be replacing this mirror on a 2012 S60. It has the Bliss system in it, so there's a camera there. And thanks to one of our friendly community people, this mirror was folded in, but they come down the street like maniacs, and I'm surprised they didn't hit the side of the car, because this mirror is folded in normally, and somebody hit the mirror, destroyed it, knocked this off, busted this off, shattered the glass, left this from their car. The best I could tell, it's one of them Scions. So I'm going to remove the door panel, remove this mirror, show you how to do that, show you how to take the door panel totally off, like some videos don't do that, and then you'll see how to change the window switches, stuff like that. I got the replacement mirror from Erie. Let's get started. Not sure if it's necessary, probably not, but I rolled the window down because I want to make sure nothing's in the way, which I doubt it would be. The next thing you want to do is get a pry tool. This little speaker here, trim that covers this, has 3 clips on it. So you want to pull this away from the door. Something fell down there. Then you want to unplug this. These are kind of strange plugs. I think you just push in on the back side of it and it'll unplug. Get my finger in there. Let me do that. Then it's got another plug there that I gotta push that tab in and unplug this little tab right there. One of those clips fell down in the door, so I need to fish that out. This one here, I slid my key in between it and the speaker trim piece, and it slid right out. So there you have it. You got that out. Not sure why this is loose, but we're not going to focus on that right now. Next, we're going to come lower on the door panel and look up there where your door handle is. There's two T25s under there. Remove both of those T25s. Once you have those two screws removed, you get a door panel pry tool and you put it in there and you pry the door panel off the door. This one already has a couple of busted clips. Then you come up here and this has a pry away from it up here too. So do the lower edge first and then do this. Be careful not to pull it too far away because you got to unplug things behind the door panel. So those clips go into slots in the top right there, and then you have clips around the door. They snap onto those. You want to unlatch the handle. These pry open just a little bit, top and bottom, to unplug this. So let me get something to do that with. You unplug this here. You got a plug that came up there that goes down here for your switch there. Unplug that so you don't damage that wire. And if you don't want to unlatch the door handle pull, it is long enough that you could set the panel on the ground and let it hang like that. That's what I'm going to do. Now I have access to the screws that screw the mirror against the door and the harness. You unplug the harness here to remove the mirror. Now you take out these three screws here. One here, one here, one here. They look like T30s, and you should be able to lift that mirror away from the door after you work this plug through the frame of the door. So let me take those screws out and let you know how it was working this plug through there. I massaged the plug in there. Now the remainder of this mirror should massage out of here. Looks like this window trim is holding it down. I was able to massage it from under there. I was able to massage that from under the trim and out. And there's some moisture in there. It looked like there was some red tab that might have been through there that probably got broken in the accident. There's a bunch of moisture in there. There is the part number for this mirror. And there's a gasket back here that actually looks a little gross. So I'm probably going to take this gasket, rinse it off, dry it off, and put it back in place before I put the replacement mirror on. I kind of take pleasure in saying this. Man, it was cheaper ordering this mirror from Erie Volvo than going to the salvage yard in the next town that had one of these vehicles, maybe with this mirror with the camera on it, probably not. And the time and the money, this was cheaper, and I got it less than 2 days. And getting a mirror from a salvage yard, I'd have had to pick what days. Well packed. Let's get it the rest of the way open. Look at here. It looks like a perfect match color wise that we had on there. So let me go ahead and get this installed. Some kind of grommet down here I need to be aware of. I don't know if I've seen that on the other mirror or not. But it has the light on the bottom, the camera on it, and the holes where I could get it screwed in. It looks like this probably needs to be massaged up in here properly. Yep, there I have it. Let me clean my gasket and get this installed. Clean the gasket up a little, put it back in place. Now I'm going to massage the mirror under there and put everything through there and attach the 3 mounting screws. I have the screws in and nice and tight. I got the wires up here that's going to plug into the speaker and stuff. I got the harness plugged in here. Now I'm going to lift this door panel up, plug these 2 plugs back in. This goes to the light switch. This goes to the window switch, and I'm pretty sure the window switch has some kind of release clip right there. To get the window switch out, you pull this release clip out, and then you could push the window switches out. And the reason that latch there has something to do with it, because you got to pull up this whole trim to get the window switches out. And again, this handle, if something's wrong with this handle, you pry these 2 things open and this slides out to release the cable from the handle. So there it is. Let me plug these 2 plugs in, lift this door panel up, push the top in these tabs that go in these slots up here, and then push these lower ones in. I got one missing here, one missing up front, but somebody didn't have these snapped in all the way, so I'm going to make sure I do that. These are little funny deals here. I have those 2 screws in. When you put this door panel in, make sure you have your plugs up here. Don't almost lose a plug like I did here, because you need to plug those into your piece here and snap this in place. Let me do that, then we can test this mirror. There it is. Everything is back together. The only tools you need is a door panel pry tool and a T25. Let's see if the mirror works. When you lock it, it should fold itself in. Man, light and everything works. How about that? We are good to go. If you got any questions, go ahead and post them. These are laminated, UV protected stickers, decals. This one's about maybe 2 years it's been on the vehicle. This one's been on here about 3 or 4 years. This has been on here about 3 or 4 years. And this one, man, that you can barely, really no longer see, has been on there about 8 years. I'll verify that and update the video if necessary, but that's about 8 years on that 5-year sticker. I need to peel that and replace it. Kicking off the Tinker Day, one of my supporters sent me a ECC climate control unit. They say it's doing all kind of crazy things in their vehicle. I know the climate control in Panther works pretty good. So I'm going to take the Volvo VST unit and see if I could check this thing, clear it of any codes, and ship it back to him. I think he said one of the main problems is as soon as he turns the key on, it just runs the fan full blast. So let's fire Panther up and see if the fan runs full blast. I got it turned off. Then we'll scan it for codes. Then we'll clear the codes and see if everything works and send it back to him. The fan is blowing with the unit off. Doesn't seem to have any fan control. Let me see if I can scan it from in here or if I'll have to go under the hood. Trying it in the car. It could be this fan switch is busted, but maybe not. Let's see what happens. Blower mode is a powerful thing. It will drain a battery pretty quick. So let's read the codes in it. Failure. Dang it. Not doing that. I'm gonna go into the hood if it doesn't work. Climate controls on the B side. Oops, let me exit there, go down to 850. Get a whole different menu when you're dealing with these OBD ports. Changing the speed. I'm gonna read the error codes. You can hear the blower motor running. Ooh, communication failure again. try it again. Then not, I'm gonna cycle the ignition. Or just try clearing codes without. It won't even let me see if it'll let me clear the codes. Let's try again. Turn the ignition off. Alright, I cycled the ignition. I guess this unit is dead. Can't get it to act right. I'm gonna try one of the other modes. Nope, I think that unit's fried. I'm going to take and change my oil change reminder on Panther to 7,500 miles. It said put it in connector B, so there we have it. Turn the ignition on. There we have it. I'm plugged in A side. I went to electrical. I went to module number 5. Now I'm here. Let's see what it says. Evaluation. I think this is where I can change. Service 5,000 miles. Let's see where I could change this stuff at. I went to mode option 6. I enter here. I go down. I'm going to choose 7,500 miles. It's changing the value. Because I don't do oil changes at 5,000. I hit at least 7,500 because I use full synthetic oil. All right. Let's say time. 6 months. Let's go 12 months. So it'll go 7,500 or 12 months, whichever comes first. My oil change. Let's see what that. I don't know what that says, but let's go to mode 5 and see what that says. Blackstone tells me to go like 12,500 between oil changes, but I don't think I want to do that. So it says the mileage it's set to now should be 7,500, and it is. Service months should be 12. And it even has engine hours. Engine hours is probably for people that are in these high traffic areas like New York City, LA, stuff like that. 500 hours. So if you average out your speed and it turns out to be something like 15 miles an hour, you can calculate what would be a good hour mileage, but Volvo set it to 500. I'm gonna leave it there. From the time I gave it the command to make the change to the time it made the change, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. All right, let's see if I can clear it. It doesn't have service reset on here. Let's see if it's under electrical. I don't see how to reset the service from out here, so I'm gonna shut it off and take it inside, see if I can reset it. Well, folks, we are getting some traction on cleaning some stuff up. I got 4 transmissions and an engine behind this car in the driveway, and I'm gonna get this stuff relocated. Try to get this car pushed back to the door and we'll have room to put another car in front in the driveway. But man, I don't know how I'm gonna get this car up this hill. This is gonna be tough. So I gotta figure something out. The problem primarily is the bumper's up too high. If I pull another car up, to use another car to push it back. Tried that, probably need a pickup truck or something, so we'll see what happens. Let's get these engines and transmissions moved and properly stored and go from there. So this transmission is a good transmission out of a 96 Volvo, and this is a good transmission out of a 90. Wait a second. That's a good auto transmission out of a 95. That one had about 100,000 miles on it. We pulled it out of a car from up in the New York area. If you made it this far, I trust that you found some information that was either useful or entertaining, so go ahead and hit the like button. And if you would like notification of future videos that I post, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. You can follow me on other social media apps by looking for @Robert DIY. Some form of that should bring up the other channels that I have on places like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. If for some reason you need some more personal help, go to my website at robertdiy.com and use the phone number that I have posted there to send me a text message, or you can email me. If you have questions or comments, please make a comment below. And if you'd like to make some kind of financial contribution to what I got going on here, go to my channel and hit the more link at the end of the introduction statement, and it'll show you different ways that you can support me financially. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.